Good evening, everybody. Carla Nicole. So, I wanted to talk about something that I think is kind of a challenge for a lot of people, especially you're talking about relationships, right? So, I want to talk about how many of us ladies base the goodness of a man based upon how good he is with being faithful to us. And then I often say that when we have this so called bar up, that we say he's a good man because he actually is faithful. Is it that he is a good man because he's faithful, because he is setting the tone for a relationship that basically we feel is going to be free from any outside attractions? Well, my thing is, monogamy itself can be a challenge, but it is possible. I think that monogamy has a share of a lot of issues. There are some things that go awry in monogamous relationships. But to me, I believe personally that a lot of times when we are, I guess, rating a man and claiming that he's a good man because he's faithful, it's coming from a space of the basic gauge we have for ourselves. What do we gauge ourselves towards? Do we gauge ourselves as a good woman because we are faithful? And with that said, is our faithfulness hard to do? Or is it fairly easy to do? Or is it a challenge for us to do? I think that a lot of times we put these bars up. We put these, I don't know, countless means of how we feel based upon the rulers or the measuring tape of what we guard as, you know, the bar. And so I think that we need to be mindful that we are asking or we are expecting our mate to be faithful based upon how faithful we are. Are we having a hard time being faithful, or not really? Or is it fairly easy to be faithful? A lot of times we'll say, "Well, I'm faithful, so it should come easy for him to be faithful to me." Okay, maybe, maybe not. One thing that I thought, because I was someone that was an extreme monogamous person, and I've had a share of my issues with relationships and infidelity and things going terribly wrong in my own personal romantic relationships. And over the courses of the years and experiences that I dealt with, I'll tell you that I had a one track mind. I believed that all men that are good men are faithful men. And faithfulness is the bar set that I set based upon if a man is faithful or not. And if he's faithful, then he's a good man. Well, I saw this woman that kind of changed a perspective that I was strong on for a long time. And you would think to yourself, well, why in the world would your perspective of how you see a good man change from what a woman said? Well, I'm going to tell you how. This woman said something profound and powerful that challenged what I thought. And what it was is this was a woman, okay, and she was a lesbian, and she began to take testosterone because she was beginning to go through the change of becoming from a woman to a man. And what she said was profound. And she said something that I would have never ever known had I not heard it from a woman. And what she said was, you know, I have a newfound understanding of what men go through because when I began to inject testosterone into my body, I noticed that I had a dying sexual increased urge that I never had before. And I thought, really? And she said that the urge was so prominent that it was like an itch she could not stop scratching. And I thought to myself, well, I got this bar up for a lot of gentlemen that I've been in relationships with to not only be faithful to just me, but also be intimate with only me, be only with me, period, not look at any other women, not this, not that, not this, not that, until I'm understanding that testosterone in and of itself increases the desire to want to be intimate. And it increased how this woman that was born a woman but was considering changing to a man expressed that testosterone increased levels has increased her own desire sexually. And I thought, So I got this bar up, right? This bar up high about what I expect from a man that's with me. Of course, I'm 100% plugged into my man. I know everything. I'm plugged into all his connectors that I need to be plugged into. I'm involved. I'm eager to understand and I want to help him with what he's wanting to do, his plights, and all of that. So I'm thinking, well, why would he want to be with another woman? What would be the reason? And then I noticed, well, actually, it doesn't have to be a reason. It could just be a natural thing. It could just be a natural urge. It could be just a natural desire for other people. And I was like, oh. And then I had to look at, well, is faithfulness the only bar to set that a man is good or not? And I had to step back and be like, well, there's other things about what a man comes to a table with besides his promise to be only with me sexually. What else can a man provide outside of just it being about intimacy? What else? What else does a man come to the table with besides just that? And I found out that a man can come to the table with a lot of things: encouragement, inspiration, devotion to assisting you with your goals, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. A man can do a lot more than just be faithful sexually and still be a good man. And then I had to change my perspective. Well, my God, I'm only basing a good man based upon how well he can manage his sex drive. Is that really necessarily the right bar to set based upon how good I do? And then I had to look at me. There's many people through the years that you find attractive or you're attracted to or handsome or whatever as a woman. And not to say that, you know, I would basically, you know, take interest or indulge in my desire for the gentleman. But the reality is there are other attractions. There are people that are attractive, handsome, uh, sincere spirits. And I say that all the time. Sincere spirits are even more attractive than a six pack. So a man that's sincere and cares and does things for others and takes an interest in trying to improve the planet, those are sincerities that I believe has a immense amount of beauty to it. And it would not be much for me to be attracted to him because of that quality or those qualities. So I had to sit back and I had to ask myself, well, am I basing this bar because of how easy I can accomplish the state of being faithful? Or am I doing it because it really is a bar that I should be setting up based upon if a man is good or not? And what is a good man? So I had to sit back on that and say, hey, sometimes we got to challenge what we think. Sometimes we got to sit back and say, well, maybe what I'm thinking needs to be challenged. And then, like I said, it took a lesbian to put me up on game of what actually goes on physiologically with a man when he's attracted to other women or when he indulges in other sexual activity. And then I began to have conversations with many gentlemen. And a lot of them were like, well, sex doesn't even require feelings for men at all. And I thought, really? No. Is sex better because of feelings involved? Absolutely. But it doesn't require for a man to be intimate with a woman that he has to have feelings for her. That's not the case. Now, maybe that's the case for ladies, and maybe that's where we have the issues because we're looking at it like, well, did you have feelings for the woman? Are you just having sexual relations with her? What is it? But when you sit down and you talk to some men about really what it is, it's like, oh, so I'm setting the bar up about how good a man is based upon how he manages his sex life. And maybe I'm just not being mindful of maybe that's not a bar I need to set. Maybe I need to see what other qualities he has, how he encourages, how he improves the planet. How's his spiritual life? Is he meditating? Is he having prayer time? Maybe I need to base it off of that than basing it off of if his penis is in his pants or not. I'm just saying. So I just wanted to give you guys a fresher, more deeper perspective. Because sometimes I think we make these so-called, I don't know, analogies without really challenging them. And for me, I have to challenge without sometimes just going with the norm. Sometimes I have to question some things that's being talked or thought about or what everybody else is doing. Because I feel like, sometimes we must check in, and sometimes we got to check out on some of the things we're thinking and get past it and start really, doing an analogy on what's really important, especially when it comes to the quality of a man. And after getting that new perspective, being sexually reckless, I don't care if it's a male or female, is just irresponsible, of course. So I'm not out here saying to be with a man that's out here with everybody. That's just silly. But what I am saying is, let's not set the bar and think that a man is good because he manages his sex drive. We got to go deeper than that. A man's qualities has to be beyond just how he can be faithful to you. I'm just saying. So I hope this helps somebody. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. All right? This is Carla Nicole. I'm signing off. Best kept. Have a good night. Bye.